Tonight, we're going to be focused on DealStream. So I'm going to be getting into the nitty gritty. I'm going to go over quite literally every single functionality of DealStream. The whole thing will be recorded and we'll be pushing this out as like the training video, if you will. And if you have any questions, I'd like for any one of you, you can just simply raise your hand. I'll finish my sentence or my, kind of thought process or whatever. And then I'll go to whoever has their hand raised. And if you have a question about something that I've just gone over, or you want to see a specific feature within DealStream, or even we can look up specific addresses or specific deals. If you want to do that, we can go all the way into literally like pulling comps for houses or whatever, building something out. We can do that. Will, if you're willing, I would love to ask for your time, your presence, your attention, and your video to be on so that we can have a great human interaction. I don't like to sit here and look at people's profile pictures or their names. So I'm going to continue repeating myself until people stop coming in. But today's not our regular live Q&A where I ask or I answer your guys' questions about wholesaling. Today, we're going to be focused on DealStream. Today is our official launch for the outside community. And a lot of people have signed up for the replay of this video that will be coming out on Monday. But if anybody is here, you get access, you get some perks, you get some cool things by being here today, as long as you stay to the end when I give that to you. Cool. So let's get started. DealStream. Let me introduce myself because two of you, I don't really know. Well, at least I don't think that I know Will. Still no camera to be found. So Carol, I don't know you, but I kind of know Libby. And I know JD really well because I actually used to work for JD. And he's my old boss in the Marines. So kind of I used to work for him. Anyway, if you don't know me, my name is Keith Gillispie. I live in Florida. I've been here for 5 years. I got out of the Marines in 2020, and I actually started my real estate investing career a little over a decade ago at the beginning of 2016. We started our real estate investing career, and at the time, I was stationed in Quantico, Virginia, which is just about 30 minutes south of Washington, D.C., and I spent 3.5 years there. Then I got moved to Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, had a wonderful time there. I was there for 4 years. Got out of the Marines, stayed an additional 2 years, and then left in 2020, moved to Florida. We've been here ever since. I do all sorts of types of deal structure when it comes to real estate investing. I primarily only do residential. I've dabbled in multifamily. I've dabbled in commercial. Definitely not my bread and butter. I'm not qualified to teach it. But I do feel like I can teach single family real estate. I've been doing it for a decade. I've done deals in 34 states. And for the first 4.5 years, all I did was wholesaling. I wholesaled every single house. I actually became the largest wholesaler ever in existence in the whole chain of islands that we know as the state of Hawaii. Nobody had wholesaled as many before, and nobody has wholesaled as many as I had since. And 4.5 years in, I started getting greedy. And I said, you know what? I don't want to wholesale for these little $10,000, $15,000. I want the big money. And so I started flipping houses, and I started doing wholesales, retails, and wraps. I started wrapping notes, if you guys are familiar with what that is. And for the next about 4 years, that's all I did. I sold every single house for the next 4 years. It wasn't until about 8.5 years into my career that I hold on to anything. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years. I bought my first rental in 2023. The end of 2023, and now I'm focused on acquiring rentals. I have done novations sporadically throughout my career. I've done short-term rentals and mid-term rentals sporadically throughout my career. But really, I've just had those 3 phases: a wholesaling phase, a flipping and wrapping phase, and now I'm into my rental phase. 5 years ago, we really came out with REI Automated, which is now an education software. A good deal. I'm glad to see this guy in the house tonight. We started off just with software, actually, and so that's what I'm going to be showing you a lot tonight. Actually, that's going to be the main focus, is software. But since then, we've kind of turned into a little bit of an education company as well as a coaching company. So now I have 13 different courses, about to be 14 different courses on deal structure. I think many, if not most, if not all of you have gone through at least one of my courses when it comes to deal structure or deal analysis or sales and negotiation or marketing or raising private money or hiring and training team members, underwriting, KPIs, automations, the whole shebang. These are all things that I believe that you have to have a fundamental knowledge of if you're going to be successful in real estate. However, here's what I learned. You can be book smart, you can theoretically know what to do, but if you don't have, Jen, it's wonderful to see you. Welcome. If you don't have the system to plug into, you have all of this theoretical knowledge that's going to go to waste because you're not actually doing something. So I'm huge about the execution or the implementation of that knowledge. And that's really what fuels my software development is I want to take these principles. I want to take these things that we've learned and put them into practice, but then safeguard, right? I want to keep people safe from doing bad deals. I've done a couple of bad deals and they've really hurt me. I've lost a lot of money on them. And it's more important, in my opinion, it's more important not to do a bad deal than it is to do your first deal. And so this software that we've created, all of them, we have 6 different softwares. We have Deal Labs, DealStream, DealFeed, DealBase, DealBots, DealGPT. You may have noticed that they all start with the word deal. That's because they're all a part of the Deal operating system or the Deal OS. And those softwares are the tool that you need in which to execute what we've taught in our program. So you have the education, you have the software, and then you go out into the wild, wild west of real estate investing, and somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, or has an objection that you don't know how to overcome, or some contractor tries to take your money on a renovation, or there's dirty title and you don't know how to cure it, or whatever it is. And at some point in time, it would be nice to have somebody in your corner that you can turn to who has done this before themselves and ideally has helped hundreds of other people navigate this exact scenario as well. And so that's what we've built in REI Automated is this support pillar where you can turn to a coach. You have a client success manager. We have a developer on staff. We have an executive assistant on staff. We have community leaders that you can turn to that will partner and fund your deals. So we're huge in the coaching aspect and getting the support that you need. So that's a little bit about me, and I don't know if you care at all, but I'm just trying to allow a little bit of time for the 2 emails that I know are going out 5 minutes after and 10 minutes after to get these guys into the Zoom room. So now, yeah, you better be sorry, Alicia. I'm just kidding. I'm so glad that you're here. Hey, if you don't mind, you guys who are latecomers, turn on your video, have a human experience with us. We so appreciate you being here. Tonight, we're going to be going over DealStream, which is our new software. Today is launch day. It was supposed to be on my birthday, which is 1 week from today. But I decided that I don't want to be here on my birthday. And so we moved it up. July 25th, if anybody cares and wants to send me a gift card, whatever, you can let me know. I'll give you my address in the chat. No, I'm just kidding. So we moved it up for a week. It's a little bit rushed. I'd like to have a couple more people here to ask questions, but we have a decent enough crowd that hopefully you guys can ask me all the questions that we want. This is all being recorded, right? We're going to put out that replay. I want these questions to answer everybody's questions who watches the replay. And we have a couple hundred people who are slated to watch the replay. So please do me a favor, raise your hand as I'm going through something and you're like, hey, I have a question about that. If you don't mind, can we go back? I want to know about this. Please raise your hand. I'll call on you and we won't move forward. I'm going to go in depth on quite literally every single setting, every option, every filter, every opportunity, everything that is built in DealBase. This has been a long time coming. This has been 8 months in the making, all coming to a culmination of today. And I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of this. And by the way, this is one piece. I forget who it was, actually. Libby has said at the very beginning, she was the first person in here. She said, I saw that you added DealStream into DealBase. And if you don't know what that is or what she's talking about, DealBase is our CRM, right? So all of these softwares talk to each other. Deal Labs is our on-market lead generation. And DealStream, what I'm about to share on my screen here, that's our off-market lead generation. And both of those funnel. And then we have Deal Feed that's going to come out next quarter. That's our PPL provider. So we have outbound and inbound. We have on-market and off-market. We really want to, I just don't like how anybody does anything when it comes to lead generation. I think that everybody is too overpriced and they're full of shitty leads that just waste your time. And they're a bunch of tire-kicking idiots, and I don't want my clients to be wasting their time with that. So I'm doing something about it because I believe Tony Robbins teaches us become the change that you want to see tomorrow. So that's what we're doing around here. So we have Deal Labs, DealStream, Deal Feed. Deal Labs is on-market lead generation. DealStream is off-market lead generation. Deal Feed is us running Google PPC ads for you, as well as social media ads to bring leads in whatever market you want, bring those leads to you. Those will all funnel into DealBase. DealBase is the CRM. It's the most advanced CRM. I can confidently say this, by the way. It's the most advanced CRM that has been created for real estate investors. It's not white labeled. If you're familiar with Go High Level, a lot of people white label Go High Level. If you're familiar with Podio, a lot of people white label Podio. If you're familiar with Salesforce, a lot of people will white label Salesforce. I can name about 12 or 13 different CRMs that are notable in our industry. They're all white labeled versions. They didn't create it. They don't control it. At any point in time, one of those bigger providers like Go High Level or Salesforce can pull something and that person has no control. They cannot make a decision. We own everything. We wrote the code. It's on our servers. It's our database. We've taken a lot of the things that I like about Go High Level and Salesforce and Podium, we've put them into DealBase. The difference is that we own it. And the cool thing is, and I think that JD, well, maybe you've experienced it. I actually don't see very many support tickets come in from you. But if you put in a support ticket, within 24 hours, we've solved it. We've built it out for you, right? If you have a feature request, it's free development. Nobody pays for anything. You're paying for the software pays for the developer builds it out. It's pretty simple. And so that's how we've built everything, actually. Same thing with Deal Labs, same thing with DealStream, same thing with DealBots, same thing with DealBase, same thing with DealGPT. All these things work together. So, all right, enough talking, Keith. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let me show you what the inside of DealStream looks like. When you come in to your first homepage, this is what it's going to look like. There's two ways that we've found people like to interact with the search bar. Some people, like me, I like a good old-fashioned search bar where I can come and I can put in, somebody come off mute and tell me your city and state that you invest in. Knoxville, Tennessee. I like coming into the search bar, finding Knoxville, Tennessee, and tell me what sort of houses are you looking for in Knoxville, Tennessee?
Single family, 2-bedroom, minimum 1 bath, minimum 900 square feet.
Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. There's a whole bunch of filters. I'm actually going to skip the majority of these filters right now because what you just mentioned lives way down here. And I'll go back up and I'll kind of show you all of those things here in a little bit. You said minimum 2 bedrooms and minimum 1 bathroom. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So 2 bedrooms is a minimum, 1 bathroom. And then you said a minimum livable square foot of 900?
Yes.
Cool. Any other filters?
Nope. That's it.
What about, do you want condos and multifamily and townhouses?
No, I said single family only.
Sorry. I didn't catch
That's all
that.
right.
All right. Here we go. All of those are going away. Now we're only, and here, right over here, we have this little cheat sheet. So if you're like, what did I filter again? On the right-hand side, we're looking in place is Knoxville, Tennessee. Property types is single family. Bedrooms is from to, and then it goes up from nowhere. So it's from to anything higher, from 1 bathroom up, and livable square footage, 900. What is your desired exit strategy, Jen?
Let's say wholesale.
Okay. Do you have a specific value in mind when it comes to like the ARV where you know these are going to go like hotcakes?
Yep. 150 or under.
So maximum of 150. What's the median in that area? Do you know? It's right around there, right?
Yeah,
Like 180, I think.
I think, yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else that you can think of?
No.
Cool. So a couple of things that I want to show. I'm going to scroll all the way up here to the top because we really don't have that many active filters. And if we were going to pull this list, this would be a huge list. There's one, not a huge list, but it's a sizable list. If we're going to send like a 7-touch direct mail campaign or something like that, there's 1,300 houses. There's 1,300 houses. So every single piece of direct mail you send, it's going to cost you about $1,300. And if you have a 5 to 7 touch campaign, which 5 is, in my opinion, the minimum, then you know that you're going to be committing to about $6,500 there, because that's what 1,300 times 5 is, $6,500. That's a little bit too high for me because I don't even know if this is going to work. I don't even know if this area is any good. Well, me specifically, you may freaking love it and you know that it's going to crush it, but I would want to test the market just a little bit more. What I like to do is I want to find somewhere around like 500 at a minimum to 800 at a maximum. So let me ask you, out of these lead types, what sounds really good to you? And you can actually see how many there are here. So like absentee owners means that they own the house, but they don't live there. And then free and clear means that they don't have a mortgage on it. They own it outright. And if you don't know what any one of these means, then you can just hover over the question mark. I'm a big fan. I do not like outside of this sort of environment, like when we're live. I love answering your questions. So please make sure to raise your hand and ask your question as we're going through. But outside of this environment, I don't like answering questions. Okay, it bothers me. Instead, I want to make sure that you have all the data in front of you and I'm not being the bottleneck in your business where you have to ask me a question of how do you define something. So there's question marks everywhere. What's an absentee owner? Well, it's a property owner who does not live in the property. How do we identify them? The tax mailing address of the property owner is different than the subject property. Each one of these, and probably everybody here on the call knows what an absentee owner is or free and clear, but do you guys know what a zombie property is? Probably not, because everyone's going to define a zombie property a little bit different. You're like, what the heck's a zombie property? Well, you can hover over that one. Properties in pre-foreclosure that are also vacant. Whew, what a good list to pull. Pre-foreclosure and vacant. How do we identify them? If a property is an active pre-foreclosure process and has been identified from the USPS as being vacant, then this property is categorized as being a zombie foreclosure. For more information on zombie foreclosures, refer to nolo.com, Legal Encyclopedia, zombie foreclosures. So you can look at any of these: active investor owned, long-term owner, active listings, high equity, board investors, potentially inherited. I love this list. Cash buyers, low equity, flipped, pre-foreclosures, delinquent tax activity, upside down, foreclosure, and vacancy. Now, before you finally get to answer this question, Jen, of which one of these looks best for you, I'll show one more thing, and that's the difference between the tiny little word or and the almost as tiny word and. Okay. Let's say I'm going to draw on my screen here. Let's say I wanted absentee owners that were also free and clear. What I'm going to want to do is make sure that match all selected is toggled on, because when it's on, this means that it's and. It has to be this and that. Does this make sense? So when I toggle it off, we're no longer looking at ands, we're looking at ors. So if I were to select absentee owner and then I were to select free and clear, we're going to get 1,500 properties because it's or. All right. Whereas if it's and, let me show you, the number gets significantly smaller. So absentee owners is 837, but watch the free and clear number. The free and clear number right now is 722. But that's when we have 1,300 results, right? Out of 1,300 results, half of them are free and clear. But what if we filter by absentee owners? Now we're going to go from 1,300 results to 800 results, which means that free and clear is likely going to go down. Here we go. There's only 552. that are both free and clear and absentee owners. If you wanted to make this list significantly better, then what you could do is say, I want an investor to own it. Why would I want an investor to own this? Well, because that investor likes receiving, they're okay with owner financing this property to you so that you don't have to go get a DSCR loan. Does that make sense? They're not necessarily a motivated seller, so they're not going to give you a super steep discount on the price. They may not give you a huge discount on the price, but what they will do is give you a break on the terms. And potentially, you only have to come with 5% cash now. A 5% down payment sounds way better to me than a 20% down payment, right? And then as long as you can get them a little bit less than what they could rent it for, because there's no risk to them. They don't have to set aside money for taxes and insurance and property management and maintenance and capital expenditures and operating expenses and dealing with tenants and toilets and trash and all of this nice stuff. They don't have to deal with any of that. They just collect one check from you and you can rent it out or you can owner finance it, right? So now we're down to just 307 people. What a dope list to mail or to cold call. All right. So Jen, you don't care about any of that stuff that I said. Which one of these filters is best for you?
I want absentee and tax delinquent.
Great. We've narrowed it down to 120. Now let's check. Watch this. This is going to get even better. So you said absentee owners. Would you like all absentee owners or would you like in-state absentee owners or would you like out-of-state absentee owners?
I want all absentee owners.
Okay, cool. You're different than me. What I like to do is I like to do absentee owners that are out of state. If we do that, there's only 6, right? This significantly drops it down. And then, because a lot of these folks, they inherited the house, right? Mom died. Mom lived in Knoxville, Tennessee, but I live in San Diego, California. How in the world am I supposed to take care of this property? Those 6 people are super motivated. Now, the downside is the list gets significantly smaller. As you can see, we literally just took like 5% of our existing list. Okay, so those are our main lead types. I think we have a total of 17. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 17 lead types. You can do a match of include and exclude, by the way. So let's say that you wanted to exclude foreclosures. That's probably the one that I would go to. And I don't want upside down. I don't give a rat's ass. If it's upside down, I don't want it because I like making money and I believe that it's important equity in your deals. So I don't want foreclosures because now I'm dealing with a bank and banks take a while and I like to move pretty quickly. So I would have narrowed that down from 100 and whatever it said, 105 or 106 down to 94 because I'm getting rid of those that are upside down, which means that you owe more than it's worth, as well as foreclosures, which means that we're no longer in pre-foreclosure, like the bank has already foreclosed. All right, so it's an REO. It's a real estate owned property. There's a couple of really cool things here when it comes to AI scores. We have a retail score, a rental score, and a wholesale score. So Jen, knowing that we want to wholesale this property, I didn't mean to make that go away. Knowing that we want to wholesale this property, I would probably recommend having a minimum of at least 450. And I think that the numbers here will back me up. So we have 5 leads that are 4 to 499. We have a couple leads here. We have a couple leads here. We have a couple leads here. But these ones are at least 500. So let's go 499. That is going to get rid of some of our houses. We go from 120 to 110. So those 10 properties, in my opinion, not even worth looking at. Not worth mailing, not worth calling. Reason being, there's a very low likelihood, like statistically, like the numbers say, tracking historical averages, those have a very low probability of being wholesaled. Maybe they owe more than they could accept a low cash offer. Something like that would be a very low wholesale score. A rental score is whether or not it's going to be purchased as a rental investment. This is good for wholesaling, by the way, because you may be wholesaling it to a landlord. So potentially you don't just want it to have a good wholesale score, but you also want it to have a high rental score. Same thing with retail AI, we actually have quite a few here that are pretty stinking high. It's extremely rare to see leads that are in the 800s, so I'm actually blown away. There's 2 leads that are in the 9. I've actually never even seen a lead in the 900, so apparently Knoxville, Tennessee is the place to be, Jen. I've never in 7 months of working with this, I haven't seen in the 900s. This is amazing. You have 5 that are in the 800s. The majority of them are in the 5 to 700 range, which is fantastic. Okay, deal marketplace. This is if you want to see marketplace deals in the surrounding areas. I would probably toggle this off. This is our other users that have a deal that they want to wholesale. We have a marketplace. I'll tell you a little bit about it and then I'll continue on. Simply, it's super, super easy. It's $100 to list one property for 1 month. That's what it is. It's $100 to list one property for 1 month. What does that mean? If you want to list 2 properties, then it's $200. Or if you wanted to list one property for 2 months, it's $200. $100 gives you one property for 1 month. It goes on the marketplace for every DealStream user to use. And the cool thing is you can actually see other people's marketplace deals as well. So this brings in all the surrounding, like nearby states are going to be there. Valuations, we already kind of went through this. AVM is how much do we think that this house is currently worth? Rental value, how much do we think this could get for fair market rent, not Section 8 rent. We don't want to get all complicated with Section 8 rent or pad split or furnish finder or something like that. Those are all out of the norms. We only go by fair market rent. Potential profit. This is going to be the difference between, this is kind of nerdy, so that's why I'm hovering over it. The difference between the property's listed price and estimated value. So if it's 40% below value, then it's 40% potential profit. It doesn't factor in closing costs, repairs, or other expenses. We don't know the condition of the house. Therefore, we can't estimate the renovations, right? All right, we have some features here that we've already gone through. There's different property types that you can select: beds, baths, all the regular stuff that you would see on Zillow, livable square footage, 2 stories. Let's say that you don't want any 2 stories and you only want 1 story. Sweet. Minimum or maximum lot areas, minimum, maximum year built. Zoning codes. Oh, there was somebody, Crystal, we were talking a month ago, maybe not even a month ago, actually, because I had just moved into this house. You had that house and you didn't know what the zoning was. Maybe you're straying away from a specific zone or you're wanting, say, mixed use land or something like that. You can do that. And then amenities like a pool or a 3-car garage or a well or whatever like that. All right, next we get into ownership. There's a whole bunch of stuff here: ownership, mortgage, listing, sales, prices, foreclosures, liens, things like this. So ownership, it can be owned by an individual, a business, an estate, a financial institution, a government, or a trust. Ownership length, if you want to do a minimum, a maximum. This is a cool thing. I was just talking to a buddy actually just a couple minutes before we started our call today. He has a house listed for 1.068, so $1,068,000. He just received an offer today of $700,000. And he's like, Keith, he called me. He's really upset. He's like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is the only offer I've gotten, but it's $700,000. And I said, Rafi, don't take it personally, dude. This is not an emotional thing to them. They took whatever you had it listed for, multiplied it by 0.7, and that's the offer. It's just a dirty lowball offer. He's like, how'd they get my information? I said, well, the same way I get your information. You're 2 filters away from getting a letter of intent from me. You're 2 filters away. Filter number 1, length of ownership, 2 years or less, days on market, 6 months or more. That means that you meant to flip the house, so it's in really good condition, but it hasn't sold. Ooh, would you give me a master lease option? Would you own or finance it to me? Because at this point, you just want to stop the bleeding. His bleeding is $11,000 a month on this $1 million home. So we can do the same thing here. If you wanted to look at people who have just recently bought their homes, you can really get pretty niche with this. You can also look at, hey, I want them to have a bunch of equity. I want them to live in there for 15 years or more, 20 years or more. Super, super cool. Owner name. I don't really know why people wanted this, but we put it in. If you only want to talk to Keith's, if you really think that I'm just so good looking that you only want to talk to Keith's because it tickles your fancy, JD says, no, Keith, shut up. Yeah, we really can filter by up to 3. Yep, that's right. We put in 3, up to 3 owner names by typing in the name. So you can try to find a specific person. That's the real reason for this. If you wanted to find a specific person or a specific entity, right? If you're looking for an entity that owns 13 different houses and you want to see what other houses they own, you can kind of reverse engineer by looking up the owner name. Again, that's whether a proper name or a business name. Then we have owner occupied, original owner, so they haven't sold the house, absentee owner in state, absentee owner out of state. It's in an estate or the owner has passed away, or it's a quick claim sale. How do we know that it's a quick claim sale? Typically, quick claim sales are $1,000, maybe in some areas $1,500 or more. A lot of times it's just $1, $10, $100, $1,000, something like that. Again, you can always come in here, often a signal of family transfers, gifts, title cleanup that can indicate motivated sellers. Miss Jen, go ahead.
How do you know they're deceased?
Because there's a
Because they've opened a probate?
whenever somebody dies, right, there's going to be a obituary. So we see their name in the obituary, we see their name on title, and we say this is the same person's name. And in the title work, it has all of their information is there. There's also a mortgage. We can see that as well, right? Because mortgages are public record. Titles are public record and obituaries are public record. So we can match up that person. We don't know for a fact that it's them because you can have the same person with the same exact first and last name spelled identically, and one of them owns a house and another one doesn't own the house. So there's going to be, it's single digit percentage where it's not going to be correct, but most of the time it is going to be correct. And if there's again, this is all public record, probate or estate work that has been filed with the county courthouse, we're going to pick that up as well. We have access to all of this data. All right, moving right along. Let's say there's some people in here who really like to go after these low equity or no equity deals. I personally not a fan of this. However, I have actually many friends who that is their entire business model. They say, I don't do this for the cash, I do this for the cash flow. And so they find these folks who they bought the house with a VA loan 3 years ago when the VA interest rate was 2.25%. The problem, that person put no money down 3 years ago, and the house prices have fallen since their peak in 2024. That means that there's going to be low equity or no equity. They're actually upside down. You can search for equity. You can search for loan to value. We can't search for loan to value without not selecting equity. So you cannot go equity and loan to value at the same time. You have to choose one or the other. It's the same exact thing. This is more of a percentage. This is the dollar amount that you want. Okay. If you wanted to look up a specific lender name, I don't mean to be revealing all of my secrets, but there's some lenders who have gone underwater that never sold their paper. What does this mean? Does anybody know? There's some lenders that have gone underwater and they never sold their notes. That means that there is a mortgage on the house that nobody's collecting. It goes to a checking account that nobody has access to because it's already gone defunct. It's gone through bankruptcy court, which means that if you don't pay your mortgage, nobody knows. Nobody is coming to foreclose on you. This is a real thing. It was a huge thing 2008 to 2011. Massive opportunity all the way up through 2014, arguably up through 2015. Most people have fixed this. However, there's still small local banks who go defunct before selling their paper. And if you find out who they are, you can go after those lenders and buy their houses. And literally, even though there's a mortgage on it, it's free and clear. Nobody is collecting the money. Nobody is coming after you if you stop making that payment. Totally crazy. I know that I just broke some of your brains, but I spent, I think, $12,000 on a mastermind to learn what I just told you in like literally 2 minutes. Loan types, if you wanted to go through an FHA or a VA financing, conventional financing, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Balloon loans, ARMs, that's not like an arm like your appendix on your off your torso. That stands for adjustable rate mortgage. Adjustable rate mortgages are typically 5 years to 7 years, and then you have to balloon them out. So it's a super low introductory rate. It's kind of like a credit card. You know how sometimes credit cards will give you 0% interest for like 12 months? Sometimes people will give you like a 4.5 ARM. So it's 4.5 for the next 5 years. But after 5 years, then it goes to whatever prime is plus 2. Meaning prime, if we're currently at 9%, in 5 years from now, then it's going to be 11%. So you imagine your mortgage goes from 4.5% to 11%. It gets really expensive really fast. We have conventional loans, we have construction loans, we have commercial loans, we have credit lines, we have FHA, open-end mortgage, purchase money mortgage, reverse mortgage, seller take-back loan, standalone mortgage, USDA, VA, other, and unknown. You can filter by maturity date. When does that mortgage end? The loan recording date. Let's say that you're going after new homeowners for whatever reason. By the way, you don't have to use this just for solar. I mean, real estate investing, you could use this for solar. Like you could go after people who just recorded they just bought a house. Well, maybe I don't know, like we don't have anybody right now who's a solar client, but I could see somebody using this for solar. Or, hey, you want to put in a water softener in your brand new house? We could hook you up. Or, hey, do you want to seal your pavers? You could also look up people who got their house 3 years ago. What do those people need? Those people need some power washing, right? There's all these cool things that you can look through here. Open loans. If you want to find somebody who has a second loan, like a second lien, a home equity line of credit will fall under here. Some people even have 3 loans. Maybe they had their primary loan and then they didn't have a down payment, so they got a down payment loan. And then 10 years later, they wanted to pull out a little bit of equity to pay off their medical expenses or their credit cards. So they get a home equity loan. Well, now they have 3 loans on their house. Could you target them for some reason? Absolutely. Projected loan balance, mortgage financing type. We have a whole bunch here. It's kind of the same things that we're talking about. This is who financed them. This is the type of financing. So adjustable rate, balloon, fixed rate, other, multiple loan amounts, step interest rate. A step interest rate it's 4.5 this year, it's 5.5 next year, it's 6.5 the year after that, and then it goes up to 7.5 and it stays. That's a step up. It goes up every year or two. Variable rate mortgage or an all-inclusive trust deed. Then we have the mortgage interest rate. Again, if you're one of my friends who likes to buy these 2.5%, 3.5% interest loans, you can do that because, again, it's listed on the mortgage. Listings. If you want to go after active listings, days on market is here. If you wanted to go after unactive, like it's expired or withdrawn or canceled or coming soon or pending, we have access to every sort of listing. There's 1,300 MLSs across the United States, and we've got access to them. Last modified date. Why would somebody want to modify their listing? Because they've dropped the price. If you want to go after specific listing keywords like TLC, contractor special, needs work, fast close, something like that. If you want to make sure that they have photos, or if you want to make sure that they have before and after photos, you can toggle these on or off. Next, we have previous sales. When did they last sell it? What did they sell it for? Like, what's the dollar amount? If you want intra-family transfers, a lot of times when kids inherit houses, they're not looking for $1 million to get rid of it, right? They just want a little something. So that's a great thing to toggle on. Double close. This is a cool thing that's recently added. If you want to see houses that have a recent double closing, because wholesaling is getting outlawed in many states and there's legislation coming out that is making it harder and harder. You want to check those out, and you want to see max days in between. Sometimes you have to hold on to these for a couple of days, even a couple of weeks, as much as 31 days. Foreclosures, if you want to see the auction date, or pre-foreclosures, this is called a notice of default, or NOD for short. Notice of default is how we find these. Pre-foreclosures, if you want to see when they've been served it. Let's say, for example, in Florida, I know if you get served a notice of default, you have about 6 to 7 months before we foreclose on you. Whereas in Bexar County, Texas, you have 4 to 5 weeks before they foreclose on you. So I can go to Bexar County, Texas, and put in notice of defaults or pre-foreclosure notices served from last month, this date, to today's date. We'll pull that information, and those people are going to be some of the most motivated people in the entire country to sell their house before they get foreclosed on and lose everything. Then we have liens, different lien types. There's a whole bunch of liens that we have access to. Assignment of rents, deceased, probate, divorce liens, general liens, HOA liens, judgments, list pendants, mechanics liens, tax government liens, and utility liens, as well as the date that those liens came on place. Okay, there is a ton of filters, as you can see, and y'all, this is just one part that I want to share with you here. If you wanted to see the results, though, here's the results. We have 110 of them. We've got this one off of Keith Avenue. Check that out. How cool. Another one off of Beaumont Avenue, Alma Avenue, Texas Avenue, Johnson Street, Hillside Avenue. We can look at these pictures. We can see all of the information on them. Let's look at this one. This is absentee owner, active investor owned, high equity. It's 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 952 square feet. So it just came in under Jen's prerequisites here. Not very many pictures. Amazing retail score, 639. Amazing retail score. That is so good. It does look like it has one loan. Oh, check that out. The distress score is 72. There's no way. Actually, this is just check this out. Watch. We're already on step 2 of 8. So one of the cool things that we've added here is we actually buy aerial photography. I didn't even know that this was a thing until a couple months ago. You know that there's planes that fly very low over your community, and they have high definition cameras that are recording, and they sell that as a way to pay for their flights. They sell that data to people like me, who then will analyze a specific property address and see, oh, you have a lot of cracks in your sidewalk. You have a roof that's really patched up, or you have straight up like moss growing all over the siding of your house. We can see that stuff and say, wow, this distress is really high. We'll put something like that in like the 80s. This one at 36 is not that high. This property exhibits clear distress signals. An active 2023 tax delinquency indicates significant financial pressure on the owner. So what does that mean? That means in 2023, they didn't pay their taxes and they still haven't paid their taxes. They paid 24, they paid 25, they probably paid 26, but they can't afford that thing that happened in 2023. They still haven't paid it off. Cool, let's help that person out. We can see that it was sold in 2022 for $117,000 after 1,000 days on market, 3 years. My goodness, if you wanted to talk to the realtor, here's the realtor's name, MLS number, phone number, and email address. Super cool. Here's the property type. You can see it was built in 1930, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1-story. It's in Knox County. Here's the school district. Here's the subdivision, the parcel number, lot size. The legal description is there. It doesn't have an HOA. If you guys have ever wondered, like, what kind of heating does this have? Well, it has a forced air unit. Well, is it gas or is it electric? It's gas. We can see all of this information. We can see that it's in fair construction. It has composite shingle. There's no basement. It does have an open porch. We can see that the business that owns it is called Acacia Homes, LLC, with a mailing address of that. They don't live there. The property taxes are here. The mortgage amount is $136,000. They owe about $50,000 left, and loan to value is very low, 33%. That means that there's 67% equity. Oh, I forgot to mention. I don't know if you saw that, but this is a cool thing that we've added where you can just click to copy. You don't have to hold it down and highlight whatever you want to copy. You just click it and we copy it for you. We can see that the loan amount 136. It's a conventional loan, 5.1% interest rate with Mountain something as the lender. Here's all the transactions that have ever occurred. No pre-foreclosure, no liens. So you can send this to your CRM. If I were to click this button right now, it's going to send this lead into DealBase for me because DealBase is made by our developers. We've just tied it in to DealStream and you can push it straight over and work the lead from there. All right, let's go back and I want to show you two other super, super cool things about this. Who has a property that they want to wholesale? Who has a property under contract right now? Or maybe you own it and you want to sell it. I need an address to put in here and I'm going to find you a buyer live. Libby, you got one? Or Carol?
I've got one.
Cool.
Go ahead.
What's the address?
This one is 12116 Lamont Lamont Drive in Spring Hill, Florida. It's an existing co-living property. This will be
Great.
interesting to wholesale.
Cool.
That's it.
All right. Let's generate a property assessment here, but maybe we don't want buy and hold. Let's see what happens. That'll take a little bit. There's a lot of information that we can see off of this. We can see that it's low equity, absentee owner. It's kind of mediocre when it comes to all the sellability scores. It's around 500. That's decent. It's a balanced market here in Spring Hill. Property condition, let's go ahead and launch that property scan. It'll take a little bit. I can see that you bought it 1 year ago for $207,000, 16 days on market. Here's the agent that was selling it. All the information here, the building type, the construction. Is this correct?
Yep.
Gregory Green Incorporated. Beautiful. You can see the
Gregory
mailing
is an
address.
Agent
Fine.
who bought it, made it co-living, and now wants to sell it.
Cool. All right. Here's the financial information, the loans, all the cool stuff that I was just telling you about. Now, here's what I want to share with you. First, let's comp this property. So once you have a house that you want to do a little bit of research on, we can click on comps and find how much is this house actually going to sell for. Now, this is a 5-bedroom house. So I definitely don't want to be looking at 3-bedroom houses, and it has 2 bathrooms. So we're definitely going to want to bring this up to 2. And Spring Hill is very densely populated. I probably don't want to go 1 mile. Let's go half a mile. And I don't really care about active. I do care about pending, because if something is on the MLS and it's pending, then that tells me they're kind of in the ballpark of where it's going to sell. And then of course we want sold. And I'm pulling from both public record and MLS. We're looking at solid square footage, and the last sale is 6 months. So we've got 8 comps here. I'm looking at these and all the sale prices are pretty much the same except for this one and this one. So I would reckon that this house it has an ARV. This is a duplicate and this is a duplicate. Cool. We're looking right around $355,000 to $360,000 as the ARV. And I can point to 4 super solid comps. We may even be able to get a little bit more for this house because all of these were 4-bedroom houses and our subject property is 5-bedroom. We're only 1 street away for this one. We're 2 streets away for this one. And this one's half a mile. This one's half a mile away. Super solid comps. I feel really good with 355, 360. This one sold for 365. This one sold for 388 basically. If we wanted to contact the seller, then we can click on contact, and then here's the cell phone number. Here's another cell phone number. One of them is on the do not call list. One of them is not on the do not call list. Now check this out. Buyer match AI. Let's say that you have this property under contract and you wanted to wholesale it. You have this property under contract and you wanted to wholesale it. So we're looking for landlords who want to buy a house like this, or flippers that are wanting to buy a house like this. Check this out. We have NVR. These are kind of the same, Carol, because we live so close together. NVR buys so many houses, it's not even funny. They'll pick this house up in a heartbeat. They have check this out. Let me show you how big NVR is. I'm going to click on their profile here. They're all over our state, by the way. They own 300 houses. They own right now, they hold on to 300 houses worth $354 million. They have flipped, in addition to the 300 that they hold, they have flipped 919 houses. And you can actually see all of their investor events here. There's 1,213 events found under NVR Incorporated. Every single house is here. Everything. We have all of their data, and you can click on different events to see where they've done business. But I know from experience that NVR is shucks. I didn't mean to get rid of that. I can just go back to recent searches though. All right, buyer match AI. So what I would do if I had this property under contract, Carol, is I would call NVR. And the cool thing is even though that's a business, we can actually find their registered agent and then skip trace their registered agent for free. We can find the registered agent and then skip trace the registered agent for free. All we do is click on it, or you can click on view details, and then it's the same process as before. We're going to go to the contact information of this business. We're going to find Jay Lee's is the landlord that owns all these houses, and there's his phone number. No email addresses on file, but I would just send him a text or give him a call. So that's how to find. If you guys are familiar, there's a really big company. I love them, and I am friends with the owner. It's called Investor Base. It's put on by Daniel McClam. For the last 5 years, I've been a raving fan of his software because it has helped me make a lot of money. A couple $1 million wholesaling. And our software is better than his at finding you buyers. There is a 100% match with NVR. Y'all know D.R. Horton. They're the largest home builder in America. Did you know that they actually flip houses? I bet you didn't. We have Miranda Homes, LLC of Florida, 99% match. Palladium Properties, 99%. ET5LP, whatever the heck that means, 98% match. Here's another Miranda Homes, LLC of Florida, but this one's out of Tampa, Florida. So it's a different leg, it seems like. A New Experience, LH, Central Florida. We have all of these different people. There's 94. You see right here, there's 94 people that we have matched you with to say, if you want to get this house sold, call these people. And then rather than just dumping all 94 on you, we look at their most recent and relevant home purchases. So we're looking at the last 6 months of home purchases, and we're matching you with the person who we believe will buy a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,552 square foot in zip code 34608. So that's what Buyer Match AI does. You do have to have the pro version of DealStream to get Buyer Match AI, to get Target Match AI, and to get AI market analysis. So let me be really clear. This is included in starter, and this cost me a lot of money. So this is included in pro. While we're here, I want to begin to wrap up. There's one more thing that I really want to share with you, and then I'll open it up for questions, or we can go through some things that you guys want. Target Match AI. Let's say that you really had this house that was just totally perfect. You love Spring Hill, Florida. Now that you flip this house, you have contractors lined up, you have lenders lined up, you have a title company lined up, you have everybody that you need. You have an agent. You're really at 253 people. Go to deallabs.ai. And that's our on-market lead generation software. And then DealStream right here, what I'm sharing on the screen is our off-market lead generation software. You can generate the leads in these two, and then that funnels down into DealBase. And deal base, again, you can go to our website. It's $1, reiautomated.io/deal base. All of these are the same. DealStream is reiautomated.io/DealStream. So if you wanted to get our CRM software, easy peasy, you can try it out. Again, just $1 gets you 28 days. reiautomated.io/deal-base. All right, back to some hands. And I am so sorry if I am saying this wrong. I am a gringo, and that looks like Josue. How close am I?
Oh, that's spot on. I go by Sway.
Did I really?
But yeah, but Josue is my name.
Well, fantastic, sir. I'm ready for your question.
Yeah. So I might have missed it, so I apologize. But the difference between the basic and the pro, and then the other question I had is whether do you have like a instructional video on how to use the software, or like a recommended, I guess, the recommended settings to try. So like if I get this now, try to get my first deal within the first 29 days kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have those parameters laid out somewhere where I can, just skip the line kind of thing?
Yep. Cool. I'll answer those questions in the order that you asked them. You said, what's the difference between starter and pro? Starter gets you details, comps, contacts, and notes. All the super sexy, high speed, low drag things that typically have this keyword in it cost me a lot more money to use. So as soon as we are involving AI, now I have token usage and it's like off the charts. So truthfully, I'm probably going to increase the price from $300 to $350 because I think I might even be losing money with some users. I would recommend, if you're going to get pro now, because I'm very inclined to go up to $347 is what I'm going to be increasing that to. But that'll get you the AI market analysis, the target match AI, and the buyer match AI. The buyer match AI is for the dispo side. Target match AI is for the acquisition side, to buy more houses like the one that you just got. And then the AI market analysis is exactly what it sounds like. It's helping you find the sweetest spot in the marketplace. The second part of your question is, you came a little bit late in our call today, and I had already gone over some of, like you said, skipping the line, or some presets, if you will. So I can get you the recording to this call. But then the second thing that I'll bring to your attention is we actually have some video library. I think there's 12 videos in here talking about market analysis, buyer match, AI, property condition, lists, filters, searching for leads. And then in the help and support, these ones aren't videos, but these ones are like really good guides so that you can understand what each of the filters are. When it comes down to specific filters, there is no right way of filtering houses, because some people are looking to wholesale, some people are looking to wholesale, some people are looking to retail, some people are looking for novation, some people are looking for rentals, some people are looking for lease options, some people are looking for owner finance. There's all these different exits, right? There's also multiple entrances. What are the motivating factors that we want to go after? Are we going after divorce? Are we going after inheritance? Are we going after pre-foreclosure? Are we going after health issues? Are we going after safety issues? There's a litany of things that we can go after. Tax delinquent, So, like I said, there is no one right way. What I would do is try 2 or 3 and see what works best for you. Not only will one list maybe outperform the other list, but for example, I no longer like going after inheritance, because several times I was the first person to let them know that their Uncle Jack died. Like, they legitimately didn't even know that they were on the estate from their Uncle Jack. They didn't know that he passed away. And here I am calling them about their Uncle Jack. I didn't really like that. That happened to me actually several times. Some people, they handle that way better than I do. They don't mind. They already have their talk tracks on how to, walk that person through a little bit of the grieving cycle, get them out of their head, get them out of the emotions, and into doing the responsible things that they need to take action on. That's just not my personality. And so I'd rather go after somebody who's pre-foreclosure. I can talk somebody off a ledge with pre-foreclosure freaking really easy. That's what I'm best at. not inheritance. So try a couple different ones, 2 or 3, and see what lands for you. You can really have fun with the filters. There's quite a lot of filters. And these guides, as well as these videos, will help you search for leads. For example, these 2 are probably going to be the first ones that you look at, searching for leads and then managing your list and filtering it down.
Thank
Did
you.
you get to see all the different filters and stuff though? Were you
Yeah, I
here
was
when
here for the majority of the call. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, cool. Did I fully answer both of the questions that you asked me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good. So if you have a question, go ahead and just come off mute. If you didn't already, I realize a couple people came in late, so I'll put this in the chat again, but just go to my website, reiautomated.io, and then /DealStream. DealStream Starter is $97 per month. DealStream Pro is $297 per month. If you want to just start with DealStream, see how it is, see if you like it, I would recommend doing the $97 per month until you get a property under contract. Once you have a property under contract, I think that it's imperative for you to then upgrade to DealStream Pro, pay the extra $200, because that's what's going to give you the disposition, right? Buyer match AI is going to kick in, and it's going to literally give you the list as well as the phone numbers. The skip tracing is free. We don't charge you. There's no nickel and diming here in the system at all whatsoever. The sticker price is what you pay. There's no charge for skip tracing. So as you're finding those buyers, it comes with their phone number and it comes with their email address. Not only can you now use Buyer Match AI to dispo that house, but you can find Target Match. You can use Target Match AI to find other houses just like that house that you just wholesaled in that area. We have the marketing is built in right now for direct mail, and cold texting and cold calling is coming soon. All right. Fabulous. If you have any questions, as you, I think, all know, just send me a message on Facebook. I'm pretty responsive to those. Sometimes I get a little bit bogged down and I might take a day or so to respond to you, but I do care a lot about helping people, and I would like to think that I'm very responsive to several hundred people on Facebook. Again, last thing, just if you're on the edge of signing up for DealStream tonight or not signing up for DealStream tonight, if you sign up tonight before midnight, we have this automation that will give you 4 of my courses. I have 14 courses in total, talking about marketing, talking about deal structure, talking about deal analysis, talking about raising private money, sales and negotiation, hiring and training team members, systems and automation, KPIs, so on and so forth. I have 4 courses that I will give to anybody who signs up tonight. Then, after you finish those 4 courses, and only if you finish those 4 courses, I will enroll you in the next tier up, which is 3 courses. Those 3 courses will be absolutely life-changing for your business. These courses, they're not stupid, like silly things that I threw together and it's an hour, 90-minute masterclass. They're typically about 12 hours long. Some of them even go up to 17 hours, I think, maybe even 18 hours. I spent several months just making the curriculum for 1 course, and it took me a year and a half to shoot these videos. It's literally everything that I know that has helped me flip houses across 34 states just in the last decade. So don't sleep on that. That's a really good value add, especially if you are newer. With that said, thank you all for your time, your presence, your attention. I hope you have a fantastic Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Reach out to me on Facebook if you need anything, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.